welcome back. It's Jessie. I'm here at the Wolfram Tech Conference, just talking with various developers and other people using Wolfram technology in really interesting ways. I'm here with Matteo. Could you tell me a little bit about what you do here at Wolfram and what you were talking about at the conference tonight?
Yeah, so at Wolfram I work as a developer in the machine learning framework with particular focus on neural networks. I joined the company 2 years ago and been working in the group since then.
Okay, cool.
I did 2 talks at this conference, one about basically what's new in the framework, so it was an extended version of what we talk about here. And then I did another talk about the Wolfram Neural Net repository, which is our curated collection of pre-trained neural net models.
So can you, just for the audience, can you tell us a little bit about what makes the Wolfram Neural Net Framework, unique and sort of nice to use, and what they're used for, maybe?
So the main advantage of a framework is that is the ease of use with respect to other external frameworks. It's very high level. You don't have to type much code to do things compared to other frameworks, and it has very extensive and curated documentation, and it's perfectly integrated with the rest of the language. So these are some of the more interesting features.
So the neural net repository works with the framework when a user is typing?
Sure. It's perfectly integrated. You can download pre-trained models, high-quality curated pre-trained models, which are usually conversions of state-of-the-art models for various tasks, and you can download them into your Mathematica session with just one line of code, basically. So yes, there is lots of integration on that side too.
Awesome, nice. So with version 12, what are some of the newer functions that y'all are introducing?
So there was lots of improvements. We had some new layers and some new training debugging facilities, and also some speed ups. That was the main areas we improved upon.
Cool. Let me refer to my notes. Someone mentioned reinforcement learning. I don't know what that is.
Yes, you're right. Sure.
Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So reinforcement learning is one paradigm of machine learning in which basically you have you don't have data like static data you have to learn from, but you have an environment. And your machine learning system, which is called an agent in this context, interacts with that environment and gets either penalties or rewards. And so you train your agent by its interaction with the environment. And the usual application that people think about is like playing video games. So you can teach an AI system to play a video game. And that is not static data that the system has to learn to associate inputs to outputs, like in the case of supervised learning, or just learn the general structure of the data with unsupervised learning. But it has to interact with the environment and learn what are the good moves and bad moves. Let's say that.
I see.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. Does the Wolfram Language Neural Network support reinforcement
learning?
Yes,
that is actually a feature of 12 I forgot to mention. So yes, we will support reinforcement learning for the first time in the framework. So we will link with GIM, which is an important framework, like a collection of deep learning environments, and we will support training of deep learning of reinforcement learning agents into the framework with additional extended API for the net train function, which is what we use to train neural networks.
I see. So you mentioned that the Wolfram Language Neural Net Framework is sort of good for its ease of use. How does this compare to something like Keras, which is Python's equivalent high-level framework?
Well, they're very similar. We'd say that Keras is the only other high-level language which compares to us, like the closest framework in terms of high-level interface. I'd say that one great advantage we have is that it's very our framework is very well integrated with the rest of the language, while Keras is a package that you have to manually install, and it doesn't. I mean, it's usual situation in Python. You have to use many external libraries developed by many different group of people which never met with each other and didn't. So the user experience is smoother on our side because it's integrated smoothly with the rest of the language.
So it's a more user-focused with Wolfram
Yes.
language.
Yeah.
Cool. I see you have your laptop.
Yeah.
Can you show me a little bit about what's on your...
Sure. So again, there was lots to show. This is an excerpt from the presentation I had, and I'm just about to show you a couple of slides out of it. So about the speed ups, we had a much faster recurrent neural networks on running on CPU. So you see that running these, let's see what this is doing. I am creating a recurrent layer and I'm evaluating it on some input, so just a very simple benchmark. And you can see that the timing for this operation in version 12 is 0.06 seconds, while in 11.3 it was 0.52. So it's almost a factor 10 speed up on CPU, which is good. Another very important thing to mention is finally super simple multi-GPU usage. So you can just run either training or evaluation of networks on all your GPUs by just using this option. So target device goes to GPU. Also previously we had target device GPU if you have only one, or target device GPU and then some index if you have multiple. But now you can do all, and it will just work seamlessly without having to go through driver configuration, CUDA configurations, and so on, which is another main selling point for a framework.
I see.
It comes with CUDA pre-installed, latest version. You don't have to do anything. While usually in other situations you have to spend a lot of time configuring it correctly. This comes out of the box, included in the layout. You just have to type target device GPU and you're done.
Nice. Etienne actually mentioned Tensor Core support. Can you tell me a little bit about...
So Tensor Core is a new architecture which ships with some new generation NVIDIA GPUs, and it's an architecture which is focused for deep learning and to accelerate deep learning. It features like mixed precision calculation both in 16 and 32 bits, and it can give like very high speed ups for. So this is an example. So you can see the speed up here for some convolution in some like notable deep learning architecture. So you can get almost a factor of 4 in some cases. I mean, it's a very nice feature, and we will fully support it in 12 by using working precision goes to mixed.
I see.
So working precision is also extended to, there we go, real 32 and real 64. So this means that you can now specify with a single option if you want to work with either 32 bits precision or 64 bits precision, as well as mixed precision if you have tensor cores. And the other notable improvement is integration with numeric array. So numeric array is a new feature coming in 12.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about really numeric array objects.
So numeric array is basically a wrapper over a typed numeric array like you would have in C or something.
Okay.
So you can have you can specify. So here this is constructing a 5x5 matrix, and wrapping it over this numeric array of real 64, I can actually specify what's the type I want to use for this array, and you can have lots of available options. You can have real 32. You can have like integers. And so on and so forth. So it gives you a more detailed, low-level access about what is going on. And the framework will be fully integrated with this. So that's a very nice addition. The main advantage of these will be to...
You mean these mean numeric arrays?
Yes.
Okay.
it's mainly in memory consumption.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you can really have like low level control about the representation of data in your memory, and sometimes you just, for example, for integers, sometimes you will just be fine with 8 bits. So by specifying like integer 8, you will have like very efficient memory management.
Okay. Yeah. So you've exhausted all my questions. Do you have anything more you want to say about Wolfram Language Neural Net Framework, maybe to the users who are not as familiar with our technology?
Yeah, well, again, the main characteristic, the main feature of the framework is, once again, the ease of use. So you usually need to type much less code to achieve the same things in the framework with respect to others. And there is also very extensive and detailed documentation with tutorials and
Right,
so
yeah.
on. So
it lowers the barrier to entry for people interested in deep
definitely
learning.
lowers the barrier. Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me, Matteo. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And if you stick around, we'll be talking with more developers a little later on today. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.